Hello there, and thanks for joining me for this Wheel and Anchor webinar featuring one of our most extraordinary journeys, our exploration of the Galapagos Islands. Now, when many of us think of the Galapagos, a few iconic images probably come to mind, like those giant tortoises that are almost the size of armchairs, or the blue footed boobies that we always laugh about when they do their little courtship dance, or those prehistoric looking marine iguanas sunning themselves on black lava rock. And while all of this is part of the experience, what surprises people most is not just what you see, but how you experience it. Because in the Galapagos, wildlife doesn't run away from you. It, in fact, walks right up to you to say hello. Sea lions waddle over like curious toddlers, and birds hop closer on their branches just to get a better look at you. Penguins might zip past your mask while you're snorkeling before you've even had a chance to blink. It's one of the few places on Earth where the natural world greets you with trust instead of fear. Over the next half an hour or so, I'm going to take you through the highlights of our private voyage to this remarkable archipelago, its volcanic landscapes, its wildlife found nowhere else on Earth, and what it feels like to live aboard our yacht for a week as we move from island to island. Before I get into it, I just want to give you a bit of an overview of how this webinar is going to go. First of all, I'm going to give you an introduction into Wheel and Anchor and how we are different from other travel companies. Inside of that, I'll introduce the key members of our team, and then I'll take you to the map and explain the geographical layout of our trip. And right after that, I'll talk about some of the highlights of each day with some personal accounts from our previous visits there. Now, if you've joined us for a webinar before, I suggest you jump ahead a few minutes to the map and the day-by-day highlights by using the YouTube chapters, which you'll find immediately below this video or in the description box. But if this is your first time viewing a Wheel and Anchor program, I invite you to stay with me through the next couple slides as you get to know who we are and why we travel the way that we do. First, let me share what makes Wheel and Anchor different. Because as I said just a moment ago, we're not just another tour company. We're, in fact, a community of Canadian travelers united by a shared philosophy, which is that the most meaningful experiences happen when you take a little more time to go beyond the surface of a destination. And just as importantly, when you share those moments with like minded people. And I'll get more into that in a moment. But if you're watching this, you probably got a travel bucket list somewhere. Most travelers do. It might be written down, it might be online somewhere, it might be just in your head. But here's what I've learned after 3 decades of organizing travel for Canadians. The real magic often lies beyond those bucket list places. It's about the unexpected moments, like walking inadvertently in the wrong direction and then discovering a cool part of town that you might not have otherwise seen, or maybe poking your head into a gallery that's not quite open yet, and then you get invited in to strike up an impromptu conversation with the artist. Those are the kind of stories we tell when we get home because they fall outside the structured part of any organized trip. But perhaps most importantly, it's about sharing those experiences with whom you're sharing those experiences. There's something uniquely comforting about exploring the world with fellow Canadians, people who just get you, who speak your language both literally and figuratively, and who often become lifelong friends rather than just fellow travelers who you'll never see again. So if you value good conversation and a shared laugh in some surprising places, not to mention the freedom to connect authentically as well as explore independently, then you might just have found your travel home with us here at Wheel and Anchor. Moving on from that, I want to share with you a moment about our travel philosophy, which centers on two fundamental goals that transform how you experience the world. We call them being well traveled and well connected. So let me first talk a bit about being well traveled. And this doesn't mean a race to collect passport stamps. In fact, it's a practice of presence. Sometimes I like to call it the curious wanderer's mindset. It's when you slow down, you tune in, and you allow a place to reveal itself on its own terms. When you savor the rhythms, the stories, and the everyday rituals around you, a journey shifts from being a sightseeing trip to more of an insight, becoming an experience that really shapes you long after you've returned home. If you think about your other truly well traveled friends, those are the ones with the most unique stories and experiences, not to mention learnings from their travels around the world. Part of that is also about being well connected. And this is where Wheel and Anchor truly differs from conventional tour operators. Because connection isn't just about your fellow travelers, it's about how travel deepens your relationship with the world. We create opportunities for you to get hands on with art or crafts or cooking, learning from artisans who have kept centuries old techniques alive, and to point out the places where you can actually interact with locals and have the kind of conversations you might have with folks back home or on the other side of town. Together, these elements create what we call the wheel and anchor transformation. You return home carrying more than just souvenirs because you'll have newfound perspectives that enrich your daily life and lasting friendships that continue inspiring you long after your luggage is unpacked. This is travel that changes you. Let me just say a couple more things before I delve into the details of this trip, because I want to tell you a little bit about who we are. Who are the people of Wheel and Anchor, beyond our members, of course. So, first of all, my name is Gordon Dreger. I'm the founder of Wheel and Anchor. And as I mentioned, I've been working in and around the travel industry for the better part of 35 years. I've organized trips for Canadians to just about all parts of the globe. But I couldn't pull off all the promises I've just talked about without an incredible team of people. And all of them are as dedicated to ensuring that we deliver some of the best experiences for our members as I am. And the person who's most important for you, though, is our trip specialist team, which is led by Paula Sarnik. And you can see a picture of her here to my right. She's the person, when you drop us a note or give us a call, will most likely be frontline to make sure that your questions get answered and to assist you in joining us if you decide to come on this or any of our other trips. So let me now get into the map and the highlights. This trip takes us from mainland Ecuador out into one of the most unique environments on the planet, the Galapagos Islands, of course, which are scattered across the Pacific about 1,000 kilometers off the coast. The islands are a living laboratory of evolution, a place where wildlife has adapted in complete isolation. Our trip begins in Guayaquil, which is Ecuador's largest coastal city, and from here we'll take a short flight west to the island of Baltra, where we'll board our private yacht, the Galapagos Angel. For the next week, our yacht becomes our home as we navigate between several of the archipelago's key islands, each with its own distinctive geography, wildlife, and story to tell. We'll start off at Santa Cruz with its quiet beaches and inland lagoons, and from there we move to the volcanic slopes and sheltered bays of Isabela, the largest island in the archipelago. Fernandina follows, which is one of the most pristine and untouched islands, and it's known for its stark lava landscapes and rare species. And then we'll head over to Floreana with its layered human history and famous snorkeling sites. We end up at Mosquera Inlet, a low sandy stretch home to one of the densest sea lion colonies in the whole region. Over the course of the week, we'll see how each island has evolved differently, how species have adapted uniquely, and how these remote shores continue to reveal the story of life itself. It's a journey unlike anywhere else, both geographically and in the way it changes your sense of your connection with the natural world. So let's dive into the day by day details of our 10-day itinerary for this nautical trip, the Galapagos Laboratory of Evolution. On our first day, we arrive in Guayaquil, which is Ecuador's largest city, as I said before, and it's the main airport gateway to the Galapagos. Although there are currently no direct flights here from Canada, you can easily reach this city with a connection in Panama or Bogota or other hub cities in the region, depending on where you're leaving from. Today is all about travel, so it's settling in, getting some rest, and preparing for the adventure ahead. After a brief orientation with your host, we'll head to the airport to complete Galapagos special entry formalities and then take our 2 hour flight from Guayaquil to Baltra, where we'll transfer straight to the yacht to settle in. We're going to be staying aboard the Galapagos Angel. I visited her not that long ago and wanted to share a few thoughts. I'm here on board the beautiful MS Angel, a Galapagos yacht with 8 cabins. She is truly lovely, has some cozy staterooms, a lovely dining room area, and of course up here, the most important part of the vessel is the sun deck with a big jacuzzi. Cruise around while enjoying some hot bubbly water while staring out at the amazing scenery of the Galapagos. Angel is designed for relaxed living at sea. At 35 meters, she's just the right size for our group, which makes it feel more like a private expedition than a cruise. Well, it is a private expedition. There's a bright dining room and lounge at the center of the ship. And as I noted from aboard, there are 8 cabins, each with its own private bathroom, hot water, and of course, air conditioning. The cabins are simple, quiet, and designed for restful nights after full days of exploring. We start off the morning on Santa Cruz, followed by an afternoon visit to Bartholomew Island, home to one of the most iconic views in the Galapagos. Our day begins at Dragon Hill, where the trail starts at a pale sandy beach and gradually rises toward a ridge above a calm lagoon. Land iguanas burrow into the dry soil beside the path while flamingos sweep quietly through the shallows. As we climb slightly higher, Palo Santo trees and cacti begin appearing in the dry landscape. Later on that afternoon, we'll head over to Bartholomew Island. A wooden staircase climbs the side of an extinct volcanic cone, passing red and black lava rock streaked with pale green patches where early plant life has taken hold. From the summit, we'll have an incredible view of Pinnacle Rock and the crescent shaped bay below. Later on, we'll enter the shallows for a snorkel along the edge of the bay. Penguins dart back and forth through the water in quick bursts, while reef sharks and rays move along deeper channels, and schools of small fish gather near the lava walls. Today, we'll explore two of the most remote and wildlife rich areas of the archipelago: Vicente Roca Point on Isabela and Espinosa Point on Fernandina. We'll start at Vicente Roca Point. It's a dramatic headland with two partially flooded coves. We'll explore by dinghy along the cliffs where bands of blue and green appear in calmer patches of water. Sea turtles often glide through the open areas, seahorses cling to algae near the rock, and penguins use the lower edges, while blue footed boobies occupy the higher up ones. In the afternoon, we'll hit Espinosa Point on Fernandina, one of the youngest and most pristine islands in the archipelago. The shoreline is a wide field of hardened lava, textured with ridges and plates that extend down to the sea. Marine iguanas gather in groups on the warm rock, and flightless cormorants nest beside the path. We might even see Galapagos hawks circling overhead. Our visit will end with a snorkel or a dinghy excursion along the coast where rays, turtles, pufferfish, penguins, sea lions, and a whole bunch of seabirds all share the same water. The next day, we'll visit two remarkable sites on Isabela: Tagus Cove, which was once an anchorage for early explorers, and the wildlife rich waters of Elizabeth Bay. We'll start off at Tagus Cove, which is a sheltered natural harbor long used by explorers, whalers, and traders who are navigating between the islands of Isabela and Fernandina. After a dry landing, we'll follow a trail through volcanic landscape toward the rim overlooking Darwin Lake, which is a saltwater lagoon formed inside a flooded crater. The route offers incredible views of the island's rugged terrain and its distinctive mix of Palo Santo forest and lava fields. Later on, we'll head over to Elizabeth Bay, which is one of the most vibrant marine environments anywhere in the Galapagos. Here, we'll have a wet landing and we'll have time to explore at our own pace. We can walk amongst the sea lions, watch turtles surface near the mangroves, or observe rays gliding through the channels. This is also an excellent spot for snorkeling and kayaking, but also to jump back in that dinghy for a closer look at the coves and the lava formations. The wildlife here is abundant, and many species show little fear of visitors, which offers remarkable opportunities for observation. Our exploration of Isabel will continue. This, of course, is the largest island in the Galapagos, and here we'll visit both Urbina Bay and Moreno Point, two places which have been shaped dramatically by volcanic forces. In the morning, we'll land at Urbina Bay, an area that changed suddenly and permanently back in 1954 when tectonic activity uplifted the seafloor by almost 16 meters. The shoreline expanded as a result almost a full kilometer, creating new habitats that are still evolving today. Here, it's a wet landing, and we'll walk through the terrain now home to some of the largest land iguanas in the archipelago, along with Galapagos hawks, more giant tortoises, rays, and lots of colorful reef fish. In the afternoon, we move on to Moreno Point, and here we get to have a dry landing on a hardened lava field. Small crater like pools collect seawater and form miniature ecosystems filled with marine life and bright shorebirds. The larger pools sometimes shelter ducks or turtles and even white tip reef sharks. Depending on the conditions, we can snorkel or take a dinghy ride to see more of the coastline before returning back to Galapagos Angel for the evening. Our exploration today will take in some of the highlands of Isabela, starting with the vast caldera of Sierra Negra volcano, and after that, a visit to Arnaldo Tupiza Tortoise Breeding Center. We'll start off with a slightly more energetic hike towards the rim of the Sierra Negra caldera, one of the largest volcanic craters in the whole Galapagos. The views from the top stretch all across the rugged landscape, and the trail takes us through some of the most lush vegetation we'll see anywhere on the islands. Before descending, we continue to the Arnaldo Tupizza Tortoise Breeding Center. This was named after one of the pioneering Ecuadorian naturalists who helped develop conservation methods back in the 60s and 70s. The facility is home to more than 300 tortoises at various stages of life. This center plays an essential role in preserving several endangered tortoise lineages and provides a safe space for breeding and rehabilitation. It's a terrific opportunity to see these gentle giants, from hatchlings to fully grown adults, all up close. We set a course today for Floreana, which is a smaller island but with a colorful human history and ongoing ecological restoration efforts, along with some of the best snorkeling sites in the whole archipelago. We start off at Devil's Crown, an eroded volcanic crater widely considered one of the top snorkeling spots in the Galapagos. Schools of fish, rays, turtles, and occasionally some reef sharks move through the eye channels created by the remaining rock spires. Afterwards, we'll make a wet landing at Cormorant Point, where we'll see flamingos and other bird life near the brackish lagoon. The nearby beach has distinctive green sand, which was made from olivine crystals, and the area offers walking trails and opportunities to snorkel just offshore. Later on, we'll head over to Post Office Bay, which was named for the old wooden barrel used by 18th century whalers to leave and retrieve mail. The tradition continues today. You can drop off a postcard of your own if you like. The area is quiet, scenic, and excellent for both gentle hiking and snorkeling. Along the way, guides may share stories about Floreana's early settlers, a history which is filled with intrigue and mystery. Our final island visit will be Mosquera Islet, a sandy, low-lying stretch known for its large sea lion colony and abundant marine life. Here we'll make a wet landing on a rare sandbar rather than on a volcanic island. Despite its small size, it supports one of the densest sea lion populations in the whole archipelago. As we explore, we might see rays in the shallows, reef sharks offshore, and numerous seabirds among the rocky edges. Also, killer whales can sometimes be spotted passing through the area, which of course adds a lot of excitement to an already lively environment. After our visit, we'll return back to Galapagos Angel and begin making our way back towards Baltra Island. Once ashore, we'll fly back to the mainland and settle into our hotel for the final evening of the trip. It's a relaxed night to share stories and revisit some of our favorite moments of the voyage, and to toast the incredible wildlife encounters we'll have just had. The final morning is pretty straightforward. We'll check out and bid farewell to our fellow members as we transfer to the airport for our onward flights or our trip back home. If all of what I've shared with you today about our trip to the Galapagos is appealing to you, and if you'd like to get some more details, the best way to get that information is by visiting our website. And you'll find the link in the description below this video on YouTube, which will take you directly to the webpage for our next upcoming trips. There, you can also download our detailed trip itinerary, which is an e-brochure that has all of the details, including pricing, terms and conditions, and everything else you need to know to be able to join us. Of course, you don't book a trip like this without talking to someone first, and we're happy to receive your call. Drop us a note, give Paula or one of her team a call, and we'll be delighted to assist with any questions to make sure you have everything you need in order to decide whether to join us on this amazing trip. This trip is a dream come true for animal lovers. I frequently refer to it as a safari on water, and for me, it ranks right up there with any other safari on land. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoy following our webinars on new trips, consider subscribing to our YouTube channel by clicking the subscribe button just below. That way you'll be alerted every time we release a new webinar or trip. In the meantime, whatever your next destination may be, I wish you happy travels.